Good evening, you're watching Prime Time News on TV1 live and direct from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Juadabdi.
And I'm Hashni Patirana. First up is a look at your headlines for tonight.
LTTE held gold and silver seized by military, handed over to police. President to depart for Vietnam tomorrow. Former National Lotteries Board Director Thusita Hallolua granted bail. Trade unions oppose opposition leaders' early May Day rally exit.
May dinete enawanang kisudu wadak nokara awasang kam karuwat වැඩබිමේ මිනිහා ඒ රැළියේ යනකම් ඉන්න පුළුවන් නම් එන්න නැත්නම් May dinete එන්න එපා කිසිම නායකයෙක්.
Pakistan's spy agency ISI's key role in Pahalgam terror attack revealed. Severe lightning warnings issued for 4 provinces.
And on to those stories in detail. In local news, gold and silver belonging to civilians which the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam possessed during the war and was subsequently recovered by the military have been officially handed over to the Inspector General of Police at the Army Headquarters in Batramulla.
Acting IGP Attorney at Law Priyantha Veerasurya, Chairman of the National Gem and Jewellery Authority Navin Suryarachchi and several senior military officials were present at the occasion. The stock of gold and silver was formally handed over to the acting IGP by the army officers. These items will be then transferred to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka by the National Gem and Jewellery Authority for valuation.
ජනාධිපති ලේකම්තුමා විසින් අප්‍රේල් මාස 29 දින ආරක්ෂක ලේකම්තුමා වෙත දැනුම්.
On the 29th April, the Secretary to the President informed the Secretary of Defence that a stock of gold was in the custody of the military. Based on this, the Secretary of Defence conveyed the information to the Minister of Public Security. Following this notification, I was instructed in my capacity as Acting Inspector General of Police to take the necessary legal steps in this regard. Accordingly, the Sri Lanka Police referred the matter to the Criminal Investigation Department to initiate the required legal proceedings. A preliminary discussion regarding the legal action was held at the Attorney General's Department. Based on the guidance provided by the Attorney General, we will report the matter to court and ensure that the property identified as gold is subjected to proper examination. Following this, the quantity and quality of the gold will be verified through an inspection by the National Gem and Jewellery Authority, after which appropriate legal action will be taken.
පරීක්ෂා කිරීම සඳහා මැණික් සාධාරණාධිකාරිය පරීක්ෂා කිරීමකින් අනතුරුව ඉදිරි ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගැනීමට කටයුතු කරනවා.
අපේ රාජකාරිය වෙන්නේ ස්වාවි නියෝගයට අනුව ඒ ස්වර්ණාභ.
Our responsibility as directed by the court order is to receive the gold items handed over to us by the Sri Lanka Police. In the presence of police officials, we inspect and assess the items, certify their weight and carat value, and then officially hand them back to the police on the spot. After that, the plan is to directly transfer and deposit the items with the central bank.
ප්ලෑන් එක කෙලින්ම එතනින් මා බැංකුවට ඒව ගිහිල්ලා තැන්පත් කරනවා.
Meanwhile, if the identity of the items can be confirmed, arrangements will be made to return these items to their rightful owners upon verification of their identities.
පුද්ගලයන් හඳුනා ගැනීමට සහ ඒවා අයිති හිමිකාර.
If individuals come forward to identify and claim ownership of the items, necessary steps will be taken to return them in accordance with legal procedures. All further actions regarding this matter will be carried out in compliance with court decisions. We will ensure maximum transparency in the process, keeping the public and the media continuously informed. This procedure will be carried out strictly in accordance with established legal protocols.
නිශ්චිත ක්‍රමවේදයකට යටත්ව අපි සිදු කරන්නේ.
A donor coordination and appreciation ceremony organized by the National Mine Action Centre was held today. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasurya highlighted Sri Lanka's mine action program has transformed into a nationally owned effort, guided by a clear strategy and international standards.
A donor coordination and appreciation ceremony organized by the National Mine Action Centre under the Ministry of Urban Development, Construction and Housing took place in Colombo today.
Since its inception in 2002, with the support of the United Nations Development Programme, Sri Lanka's Mine Action Programme has grown from a post-conflict necessity to a nationally owned priority. Under the directive of the Cabinet in 2010, the government took full responsibility to addressing the devastating legacy of war, the unexploded and hidden threats beneath our soil. Today, the Mine Action Centre, NMAC, under the Ministry of Urban Development, Construction and Housing, leads this mission in accordance with international standards and in line with the Sri Lanka Mine Action Completion Strategy 2023-2027, with 5 focused pillars: survey and clearance, explosive ordnance risk education, victim assistance, stockpile destruction and advocacy. The program stands as a symbol of national healing, recovery and hope.
Ambassadors from the contributing countries and representatives from the supporting organizations participated in this event. President Anurukumar Dissanayake will take an official state visit to Vietnam tomorrow. He will remain in Vietnam until the 6th of May.
At the invitation of the President of Vietnam, Luong Quang, President Anurukumar Dissanayake will undertake a state visit to Vietnam from the 4th of May to the 6th. President Anurukumar Dissanayake will participate as the chief guest at the United Nations Day of Vesak celebrations, scheduled to commence on the 6th of May in the Ho Chi Minh City, where he will deliver the keynote address. According to Vietnamese media reports, over 1,250 people, including diplomats and senior government officials from various countries, are expected to attend the Vesak Day celebrations. The theme this year is Buddhist Vision for World Peace and Sustainable Development. During the visit, President Dissanayake is scheduled to meet with senior state officials, including the President and Prime Minister of Vietnam, as well as other high-ranking diplomats. In addition, President Dissanayake will hold discussions with the General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam. He is also expected to meet with the Vietnamese business community. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has stated that during the visit, several memoranda of understanding between the two countries are expected to be signed. This visit comes at a significant time, marking the 55th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Sri Lanka and Vietnam in 2025. The ministry expects this visit to further strengthen the bonds between the two nations. Foreign Minister Vijay Herath will accompany President Dissanayake on this official visit.
All Ceylon General Port Employee Union filed a complaint with the Criminal Investigations Department today, requesting a special investigation into the unauthorized issuance and retrieval of weapons from the armory of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority.
General Secretary of All Ceylon General Port Employee Union, Niroshan Gorakhana, highlighted that certain former deputy ministers and chairpersons, among others, have not returned the live ammunition and magazines they had acquired.
Sri Lanka Varayadhikariyata ayat Avigabadaven.
A large number of weapons, live ammunition and magazines have gone missing from the armory belonging to the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. From 1990 until the most recent administration, various groups including ministers, deputy ministers and chairpersons have issued weapons to different individuals without any investigation or approval from the Ministry of Defence. Live ammunition and magazines have been issued, but none of them have been returned. After receiving them, some deputy ministers and chairpersons, particularly former Ports Deputy Minister Duminda Dissanayake, former Ports Deputy Minister Mahinda Wijesekara and several other groups have failed to return the live ammunition and magazines they obtained in this manner. As you are aware, illicit activities are occurring throughout the country. Murders are being committed and there is strong suspicion that these crimes have been committed in this country using these weapons. We have stated that as the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, no proper investigation was conducted regarding the issuance of weapons from the Ports Authority's armory with the approval of the Ministry of Defence, nor the retrieval of live ammunition. This is the information we have received.
ඒවා සම්බන්ධයෙන් නිසි සොයා බැලීමක් කර නැති බව තමයි අපිට තොරතුරු වාර්තා වෙන්නේ.
Tusita Halolua, who served as the director of the National Lotteries Board Sri Lanka, was released on bail following orders from the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court. Tusitaha Lulua surrendered to the court through a lawyer today for misusing a computer and mobile phone worth over 470,000 rupees during his tenure as the director of the National Lotteries Board. Colombo Fort Magistrate Nilupuli Lanka also imposed an overseas travel ban on the suspect. Attorney at law Ajit Patirana, who appeared on behalf of the suspect, stated that his client served as the director of the National Lotteries Board from 2017 to 2019 and that the devices in question had been officially provided to him as part of the entitlements given to directors. He further pointed out that although his client came forward to make the necessary payments for the computer and mobile phone upon leaving the service, the National Lotteries Board had not accepted the money. He added that his client had later taken steps to pay the due amount via a money order sent through post in October 2024. Having considered the facts presented, the magistrate emphasized that there was not sufficient evidence to deny bail to the suspect and said that he would be released on two sureties of 200,000 rupees each. The case will be taken up once again on the 30th May.
Parliament will convene on the 8th and the 9th of May following a decision made at a meeting of party leaders held this morning under the chairmanship of the Speaker.
A debate on the Gazette notification related to the import of vehicles under the Customs Ordinance will take place on the 8th of May. The private members' motions are set to be debated on the 9th of May. Meanwhile, the Speaker has officially certified the Bill on Proceeds of Crime. The bill, which was unilaterally passed in Parliament on the 8th of April, will now come into effect as the Proceeds of Crime Act No. 5 of 2025.
The local government election Sri Lanka 2025.
The local government election is just 4 days away. As the election approaches, attention of the general public is once again focused on the country's increasingly charged political landscape.
Discussions continue regarding yesterday's May Day celebrations, with diverse opinions being voiced. Criticism was levelled at SJP leader Sajid Premadasa during a media briefing held today by the Samaki United Trade Union Force.
Our leader addressed the party's media rally. Following his departure, all the seats became vacant. This is a situation we disagree with. We are not the JVP and our support for the leader is not solely based on his majority win. Our allegiance lies with the working class. We believe that on May Day, the leader should not have other engagements and should remain until the last person there leaves the location. We find his early departure unacceptable. If he has other commitments, he should simply not attend the rally. If there is work to be done, he should delegate such tasks to us on May Day, as it is the Workers' Day. We entrusted him to represent us as a party leader due to his lineage as Ranasinghe Premadasa's son, not to leave a rally before it ends. This action is being widely criticized. The success of May Day should not be attributed to or diminished by one individual. We believe we can offer an apology on behalf of Sajid Premadasa, as our commitment is to the working class. Moving forward, it should be a standard practice that attendance at the May rally is contingent upon staying without attending to other work until the last worker and individual at the work site have left the rally.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa attended a public rally held in Galigamur today.
We are now hearing reports that the IMF has told this government, which is under its supervision, that unless electricity tariffs are increased, the next installment of the extended fund facility will not be granted. This is why we said from the beginning that promises made in the policy declaration should be fulfilled. The National People's Power presidential candidate Anurakumara Dissanayake pledged to enter into a new agreement with the IMF, but he didn't do that. What he did was continue with the same agreement implemented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe, and now the people of this country are forced to bear the consequences. The IMF is now saying that in order to release the next tranche of the extended fund facility, Sri Lanka must raise the unit price of electricity to reflect actual costs. They go around claiming there's a 33% electricity bill reduction and stage platforms to boast about it, saying a 9,000 rupee bill will be brought down to 6,000 rupees or a 3,000 rupee bill to 2,000. But just wait and see. Right after the election, they'll hike the electricity tariffs again.
The national organizer of the United National Party attended a media briefing today.
They are trying to run a government by lying to the people, but you can't lie to the International Monetary Fund. Following the joint statement on the staff-level agreement, the IMF representative in Sri Lanka said that although the fourth review has been completed, the disbursement of funds will only take place after the pricing formula is implemented. This raises two issues. Electricity prices were reduced in January, a time when a reduction was not viable. As a result, the Ceylon Electricity Board has started incurring losses. In February alone, the loss was 11.3 billion rupees. If the pricing formula had been followed, this loss could have been avoided. According to information from the Ceylon Electricity Board, the morning newspaper reports that electricity tariffs are expected to increase by 73%. This would deliver a heavy blow to the general public, and not just the public, but also pose a major setback to the country's industries.
අනිවාර්යෙන් රජයට විශාල රතු එලියක් පත්තු වෙනවා. රතු එලියක් නම් මන්ද පොළ එලියක් තමයි ගෝල් ෆේස් එකෙන් නම් පෙවුනේ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඇත්තටම කොළ එලියට බය වෙලාද එතන? සෙනගට බය වෙලාද? මට නම් පේන්නේ බය වෙලා වගේ සෙනගට.
Duminda Nagamur, the propaganda secretary of the Frontline Socialist Party, says there is no future for the country with an opposition that only laments and complains.
What kind of criticism has the opposition in this country actually built? Most of the so-called criticisms they've brought against the government are just empty words. None of them have had even the slightest impact on the government. At one point, the opposition began making a fuss about the speaker's PhD, questioning its legitimacy while throwing around heavy words like accountability, transparency and democracy, while questioning his qualifications. A few days later, Sajith Premadasa and the opposition began making a spectacle of the Prime Minister's attire, questioning whether it's appropriate or not. They spent a week criticizing the president for fastening the wrong button, followed by another week focusing on Vijitha Herat's English fluency. This week, the opposition has shifted their attention to complaining about the order around the Kandy Lake round. Here's the current state of the opposition in this country. We tell the people that with such a mockery of an opposition, unable to engage in meaningful political discourse and offering no vision, strategy or viable plan for social reform, there is no way forward. With their lack of solutions, the opposition offers no future for the people of this country.
News First with the people.
Bringing to you the diverse viewpoints and opinions expressed in the political arena, this is Before the Ballot.
The
government that came into power in 2000 collapsed in December 2001. Similarly, the government that came into power in 2010 began to fall apart in 2017. It was in 2017, as the government was on the verge of collapsing, that President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe intervened and helped stabilize the country. Before that, it was Chandrika Kumaratunga and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe who united to stabilize the country. Yet again, the country fell apart. This is something that political parties never mention. The people of this country, having endured much, led the country to reign in 2019. As a result, in 2020, Ranil Wickremesinghe sought to take charge once again and integrate the country into the national policy framework. A country cannot be led this way. The first thing that needs to be done is to stop political parties from lying. As long as political parties keep lying, the public will continue to suffer. We are not the ones who achieve joy by dividing the country. However, they are troubled by the statement made by the leader of the opposition, Ranil Wickremesinghe, that he will soon become president. If someone is in the right place, they shouldn't be concerned about what others say. It's only because they lack confidence in their position that they respond to the things others say. The salary increments, the welfare assistance, the allowances and the resources allocated to industries, none of these were part of the previous corrupt and fraudulent activities. We are working to do the best we can. As a result, money is being saved, and that's what you are seeing. The corruption and wasteful spending in all institutions have been stopped. We have changed that and are now redirecting those funds to the people. In the past, especially members of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna went from village to village spreading lies. For example, if one of our Pradesh Sabha members put concrete on a road, the JVP members would say that although the road was built, 100,000 rupees from the 1 million rupees that was allocated was pocketed. What happens next? The whole village believes the road was built, but they also believe 100,000 rupees was misused. A large amount of misinformation was spread throughout the community. The government in power is the one that provides any facility to the people at any point. The price of fuel has decreased, and now many people are saying that the government had promised to reduce it by 50 rupees. However, at this moment, the price of petrol has been reduced by 39 rupees, and the price of diesel has been reduced by 48 rupees. Since the day the government came into power, the price of kerosene has decreased, and the price of oil has been reduced. The price of oil has been slightly reduced. Let's see what happens next month. By next month, the price of oil will definitely go up. The reduction in the oil bill wasn't due to a decrease in the value of the dollar or a reduction in oil prices in the global market. The price of oil is being reduced because of the elections on the 6th of this month. The people were given water injections, and that's how the authorities handled the situation. We are investing the most in health, as our goal is to make the people of this country healthy. This country never had a proper health system. Preventing diseases was never a priority. When diseases did appear, they were not properly diagnosed, and even when they were, appropriate treatment was not provided, nor were the necessary tools brought in. People take hundreds of thousands from the presidential fund and leave the country for treatment. Some even go abroad to places like Mount Elizabeth to receive medical care.
Mount Elizabeth gihilla behet gannawa.
I call this government a corrupt one, a multiplication table of lies. 100 lies add up to 1 lie from Hevage. 100 of Hevage's lies make up 1 lie from Savanta. 100 of Chaturanga's lies add up to 1 lie from Lakmali. 100 of Lakmali's lies make 1 from Harini. 100 of Harini's lies equate to 1 from Harshana. 100 of Harshana's lies make 1 from Tilwin. 100 of Tilwin's lies equal 1 from Kottahachi. And 100 of Kottahachi's lies make 1 from Anura. People have created this web of multiplying lies. Our country was destroyed because of the political culture. That's why we started to change this political culture. Now, after 5 months, how much has changed? One thing we can say without a doubt is that in these 5 months, we have reduced the highest level of corruption, fraud and theft that ever existed in politics. Within politics, we have ensured that fraud, corruption and destruction have been reduced to the lowest point. That is where the destruction began. That is where it all started. It was never like this before.
Shifting your attention to the weather situation currently prevailing in the country, the Department of Meteorology has issued a weather advisory warning of thunder showers accompanied by strong lightning expected in several parts of the island tonight. The provinces likely to be affected include the central, Uva, Sabaragamuwa and eastern, as well as the Polonnaru and Hambantota districts.
Now, the department further warns that these thunder showers may be accompanied by temporary strong winds. The general public is also requested to take adequate precautions to minimize risks associated with strong winds and lightning. Meanwhile, heavy rainfall experienced in some regions of the country has already caused flooding in several low-lying areas.
Due to the overflowing of the Eggal Oya in Ampara, approximately 1,500 acres of paddy fields have been submerged in areas surrounding Baripathanchena, Manikkammaduwa and Kudiville. Sluice gates of the Konduatuana reservoir have remained open for the past 3 days, causing flooding in several surrounding areas. Sluice gates of the Nachadua reservoir are also now open and water is being released into the Malvatu Oya. According to the Department of Irrigation, if rainfall increases further, they may be compelled to open additional sluice gates. In the Batiklo district, continuous heavy rainfall has led to the inundation of about 500 acres of paddy fields in the Sinnan Valley and Sinnaveli areas.
The Anti-Terror Body National Investigation Agency's preliminary report on the April 22nd terror attack in Pahalgam has pointed to an operational nexus between Pakistan's intelligence agency, the Inter-Services Intelligence and the terrorist group Lashkar-e-Taiba. Meanwhile, Indian media reports that Pakistan Army also violated ceasefire along the line of control for the 8th consecutive night by initiating unprovoked firing.
Small arms firing was directed from posts opposite Kupwara, Baramulla, Poonch, Nowshera and Akhnur, areas of Jammu and Kashmir. The Indian Army responded to the firing along the 740-kilometer-long de facto border. Meanwhile, authorities in Pakistan-administered Kashmir have shut more than 1,000 religious schools over the fears of possible retaliatory military action from India over last week's deadly attack in the disputed region as tensions soar between the nuclear-armed neighbours. Pakistan's Information Minister Ataullah Tarar said in a televised statement that the attack could take place in the next 24 to 36 hours. Both India and Pakistan are holding naval exercises almost simultaneously near each other's maritime zones in the Arabian Sea. The Indian Navy is conducting its maritime drills from 30th April to the 3rd May off the coast of Gujarat, maintaining a position around 85 nautical miles inside its maritime boundary. Meanwhile, just across the sea, Pakistan is also carrying out its own naval exercise, which started on the 30th April and set to conclude on the 2nd May. While such military drills are routine for both nations, the timing and proximity of these exercises have drawn attention in the aftermath of Pahalgam terror attack, which killed 26 innocent people on the 22nd April. India's National Investigation Agency's preliminary report on the 22nd April terror attack in Pahalgam's Baisaran Valley points to an operational nexus between Pakistan's intelligence agency, the Inter-Services Intelligence and the terrorist group Lashkar-e-Taiba. Indian media reported that according to NIA sources, the conspiracy behind the terror attack was developed with LET allegedly under directives issued by senior ISI operatives. The plan is believed to have been formalized at Lashkar's headquarters in Pakistan. In total, over 2,800 individuals have been questioned by the NIA and security agencies. As of today, more than 150 persons remain in custody for further interrogation. Raids have been carried out in multiple districts including Kupwara, Pulwama, Sipur, Anantnag and Baramulla. Searches were conducted at the residence of Mushtaq Ahmad Zargar, a key figure in the IC 814 hijack case of 1999 and currently believed to be operating from Pakistan. Narendra Modi has cancelled a visit to Russia after Pakistan said it had credible intelligence that India was preparing to launch a military strike. The Indian Prime Minister will not attend the Victory Day celebrations in Moscow on the 9th May and will instead remain in India as tensions between the nuclear neighbours continue to rise. US Vice President J.D. Vance said Washington hoped Pakistan would cooperate with India to hunt down Pakistan-based militants and that India's response to the recent Islamist militant attack in Indian-administered Kashmir does not lead to a broader regional conflict.
Our hope here is that India responds to this terrorist attack in a way that doesn't lead to a broader regional conflict. And we hope, frankly, that Pakistan, to the extent that they're responsible, cooperates with India to make sure that the terrorists, sometimes operating in their territory, are hunted down and dealt with. That's how we hope this unfolds. We're obviously in close contact. We'll see what happens.
Vance's comments are the closest the US government has come since the 22nd April attack, in which 26 people were killed, to potentially linking Pakistan to extremism in India. Top US leaders, including President Donald Trump, have condemned the attack, calling it terror and unconscionable, while expressing support for India without directly blaming Pakistan. In recent days, Washington urged India and Pakistan to work with each other to de-escalate tensions and arrive at a responsible solution. US President Donald Trump has removed Mike Waltz from his post as National Security Advisor and will nominate him as Ambassador to the United Nations. In a post on social media, Trump thanked Waltz for his work and said he would be temporarily replaced by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who will continue as America's top diplomat.
Who is Mike Waltz and why was he removed? Mike Waltz, former National Security Advisor to President Donald Trump, has been removed from his position following the Signal Gate scandal. Waltz, who served as Trump's closest advisor on national security issues, faced growing pressure from within the administration after accidentally inviting a journalist into a private chat discussing sensitive military plans. The incident, dubbed quote-unquote Signal Gate, involved Waltz mistakenly adding Jeffrey Goldberg, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, to an encrypted Signal chat that included top national security officials. The chat revealed discussions about planned airstrikes in Yemen, leading to significant embarrassment and scrutiny. Deputy National Security Advisor Alex Wong was also removed from his position, further highlighting the impact of the Signal Gate scandal on the administration. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce appeared caught off guard by the news of the appointment of Secretary of State Marco Rubio as interim National Security Advisor after CNN's Kylie Atwood informed her that President Trump had nominated Mike Waltz to be U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations.
The president has just written on Truth Social that Mike Waltz is going to become the new U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations.
Well, there you go.
No longer the National Security Advisor.
Fabulous.
And in addition to that, he says that in the interim, Secretary of State Marco Rubio will serve as National Security Advisor while continuing his strong leadership at the State Department. Do you know how long he's going to be serving in both roles?
It is clear that I just heard this from you. This is the magic. Well, I have some insights as to the potential of certain things that might happen. But when the president, and this of course is all presidential decisions, right? So I'm with the State Department. It is, as I think would be clear to all of you, you don't want to get ahead of your skis in drawing conclusions or speculating about what may occur. And you can have a general sense of what's possible, and then you see that manifest usually. But I think the one thing I've learned is that things don't happen until the president says they're going to happen.
Vice President J.D. Vance said Mike Waltz has the trust of both himself and President Donald Trump after the now removed National Security Advisor was nominated to become the next U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations.
Why was Mike Waltz let go?
So it wasn't let go. He is being made ambassador to the United Nations, which of course is a Senate-confirmed position. I think you can make a good argument that it's a promotion. But we brought Mike on to do some serious reforms of the National Security Council. He has done that. I like Mike. I think he's a great guy. He's got the trust of both me and the president. But we also thought that he'd make a better UN ambassador as we get beyond this stage of the reforms that we've made to the National Security Council. You saw the president announce that Marco Rubio is going to step in as interim leader of the National Security Council. So I think the media wants to frame this as a firing. Donald Trump has fired a lot of people. He doesn't give them Senate-confirmed appointments afterwards. What he thinks is that Mike Waltz is going to better serve the administration, most importantly the American people in that role, and I happen to agree with him.
But was it a direct result of the Signal chat? I mean, you were on that chat, and we saw the fallout from it. Is this a result of that?
No, it's not, Brett. I mean, look, what we came into the administration, and of course the president in his first term had some serious issues with the National Security Council. He said, Mike, you need to go in here, fire, frankly, a lot of people who aren't loyal to my agenda, who we think aren't even loyal to the American people, bring in the right collection of people to actually make the National Security Council function. And Mike has done that. And now it's time for Mike to do something else because he's done the job that I think he was asked to do. If the president wanted to fire him over the Signal thing, which by the way was a total nothing burger of a story, he would have just done it. But he actually decided it's better for Mike to be in this new role. He's given Mike the new role. That's it.
The Duke of Sussex has lost a legal challenge over the levels of security he and his family are entitled to while in the UK.
Prince Harry had been seeking to overturn a decision that had downgraded his security after he stopped being a working royal and moved to the US with the Duchess of Sussex. His lawyers had argued that he had been singled out for inferior treatment, but the court ruling upheld that there had been nothing unlawful about how the decision had been reached. A senior judge ruled that Prince Harry's sense of grievance over how the decision to alter his security was reached did not amount to a basis for a successful appeal. The dispute between Prince Harry and the government arose after he and Meghan stepped back from frontline royal duties in January 2020 and moved overseas. Prince Harry has previously said that worries about safety have prevented him from coming to the UK and bringing his wife and children. This latest legal challenge saw the prince argue in court that the government committee responsible for planning security for the royals did not consider the particulars of his circumstances properly. However, 3 senior judges at the Court of Appeal rejected his appeal.
On to some sports news. The Sri Lanka women's cricket team claimed a memorable victory on home soil, defeating South Africa in a one-day international after 11 years. The win came in today's match of the ongoing Tri-Nation Women's ODI series, where Sri Lanka triumphed over the South African women's team by 5 wickets. Sri Lanka recorded a historic victory in women's cricket, defeating South Africa by 5 wickets in a one-day international match played at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo. This marks the first time since 2014 that South Africa has lost to Sri Lanka in an ODI on Sri Lankan soil. The match is part of a Tri-Nations Women's ODI series featuring India, South Africa and host nation Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka captain Chamariyatapattu won the toss and chose to field first. The decision paid off early as South Africa's top order collapsed to 27 for 2. However, Lara Goodall scored a steady 46, while Henry Dirksen remained unbeaten on 61 runs. Malshima Darwa took 4 wickets for 50 runs and debutant Demi Vihanga impressed with figures of 3 for 41. South Africa concluded their innings with a total of 235 for 9 in their allotted 50 overs. In response, Sri Lanka began the innings with Hasini Pereira and captain Chamariyatapattu opening. After losing the first wicket for just 9 runs, Hasini Pereira and Vishmi Gunaratne built a solid 69-run partnership for the second wicket. Pereira scored 42 runs, setting the foundation for the chase. Harshita Samaravikrama was the top scorer for Sri Lanka, making a brilliant 77 with 8 fours. Kavisha Dilhari added a dynamic 61 runs, which included 6 fours and 1 6. Sri Lanka successfully chased the target in 46.3 overs, losing only 5 wickets. This win not only brought a much-awaited home ODI victory over South Africa, but also highlighted the strength and rising momentum of the Sri Lanka women's cricket team. And with that, we wrap up your news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.